Chosen one. Right now, someone powerful is holding a file with your name on it. And before you finish this, you're going to understand exactly why that file exists and why it's about to make you more powerful than anyone ever imagined possible. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal critical information that will completely restructure how you see your entire journey. First, why multiple authority figures have been given specific instructions to monitor you. Second, what your watchers discovered that terrifies them more than any threat they've ever faced. And third, the cosmic reversal that's about to turn surveillance into your coronation. You're not being watched because you're doing something wrong. You're being watched because you're doing everything right. And that breaks every rule in the playbook. You're succeeding without permission, rising without compromising methods, and prospering without sacrificing your principles. You've become a glitch in the matrix, and now certain people need to understand how you're winning a game you're not even playing. Think about it like this. You're the prisoner who discovered the prison walls are actually made of paper, but instead of running, you're calmly walking through them while everyone else still believes they're stone. The warden just got the report, and now they're scrambling to understand how you knew something everyone else missed some time ago. Something shifted in your energy field that sent ripples through dimensions most people don't even know exist. Maybe it was that job you walked away from where everyone was cutting corners. Maybe it was that relationship you left because someone needed you small to feel big. Maybe it was that organization you departed when your questions threatened comfortable lies. Whatever it was, that moment marked you not for destruction, but for distinction. The surveillance started subtly. A few strange coincidences you probably dismissed, phone calls that disconnected when you answered, profiles viewing your social media but never engaging, conversations that stopped mid-sentence when you walked by. You told yourself you were imagining things. You weren't. You were picking up on the early stages of a coordinated observation network that's been studying you like scientists study an impossible phenomenon. When you walk into certain buildings, security cameras seem to follow your movement more than others. When you enter specific establishments, staff members appear in your vicinity with unusual frequency. When you attend gatherings, certain individuals position themselves within earshot of your conversations. These aren't paranoid observations. These are accurate assessments of a very real monitoring system that has classified you as significant. Your phone behaves strangely sometimes. Applications crash when you're about to post something powerful. Your messages occasionally fail to send when you're sharing transformative insights. Your calls drop at convenient moments when you're speaking truth that challenges established narratives. Technical glitches. You think that patterns this consistent aren't accidents. Your digital footprint is being tracked by algorithms, specifically calibrated to your unique frequency. You've also noticed how certain emails never reach their destination when you're coordinating something significant. How certain websites become inaccessible when you're researching specific topics. How certain platforms suddenly change their algorithms right when you're gaining momentum. These synchronized disruptions aren't coincidences. Your digital presence threatens narratives that require unanimous agreement to maintain their power. The surveillance extends beyond technology into the realm of human behavior. You've observed how certain individuals appear repeatedly in different contexts of your life. The same faces in different places, always peripheral, but always present. The person at the coffee shop who's there every time you are. The individual at the gym whose schedule mysteriously matches yours. The colleague who happens to be near every important conversation you have. See, when you made that pivotal decision to choose integrity over inclusion, you didn't just change your path, you exposed theirs. When you refused to compromise your values for validation, you didn't just maintain your standards, you revealed their lack of them. When you walked away with your principles intact, you didn't just save yourself, you became living proof that sacrifices others made were optional, not required. And that's when the real watching began. Not casual observation, but strategic surveillance. Not random monitoring, but systematic investigation. Corporate executives who've never met you suddenly knew your name. Religious leaders who've never spoken to you started discussing your influence. Political figures in completely different spheres began receiving briefings about your potential impact. The fascinating part is how this surveillance network operates across multiple dimensions simultaneously. In the physical realm, you're being observed through conventional means, cameras, digital tracking, human intelligence. But in the spiritual realm, something far more complex is happening. Your energetic signature is being monitored by those who understand that true power operates beyond the visible spectrum. You've noticed how certain people react to you before you've even spoken. How some individuals seem nervous in your presence despite your peaceful demeanor. How specific authority figures become defensive around you even though you haven't challenged them. This is because your frequency is disrupting their carefully maintained wavelength. Your authentic vibration is interfering with their manufactured harmony. Your dreams have become more vivid lately, filled with symbolism about observation and revelation. You wake up with the distinct feeling that important information was downloaded while you slept. These aren't just dreams. Your subconscious is processing the surveillance on a level your conscious mind is only beginning to understand. Your spirit is preparing you for what's about to be revealed about those who watch you. The Watchers have tried to categorize you using their existing frameworks, but you don't fit into any of their boxes. You're not rebellious enough to be labeled a troublemaker, but you're too independent to be controlled. You're not aggressive enough to be considered dangerous, but you're too powerful to be ignored. You're not loud enough to be silenced, but you're too influential to be allowed to speak freely. Your refusal to be categorized extends into every area of your life. Your spirituality doesn't fit neatly into religious boxes. Your success doesn't follow traditional business models. Your relationships don't conform to conventional dynamics. Your very existence is an act of rebellion against the tyranny of categories, and this makes you impossible to control through normal channels. If this message aligned with your purpose, hype this video so fellow chosen ones can find their confirmation. Let me tell you what's been happening in rooms you'll never enter, in meetings where your name is spoken but your presence isn't welcome. There have been strategy sessions about you, real sessions with real decision makers trying to understand your trajectory. Your background has been analyzed, looking for the secret compromise everyone assumes must be hiding. Your finances have been investigated, hunting for the dirty money that surely must be funding your ascent. Your relationships have been studied, searching for the exploitation that certainly must exist. But every investigation comes back with the same disturbing conclusion. You're actually clean. You're genuinely authentic. You're legitimately succeeding through integrity. And that impossibility is causing what classified reports call a paradigm crisis in certain ranks. The research conducted on you goes deeper than surface-level observation. Behavioral analysts have studied your patterns, looking for predictable weaknesses. Psychological profiles have been constructed, attempting to identify your breaking point. Social engineers have tried to map your influence network, searching for vulnerabilities to exploit. Yet every model breaks when applied to you because you operate from a different source code entirely. Your consistency under pressure has become particularly troubling for those monitoring you. Most people reveal their true nature when stressed. Most individuals expose their compromises when challenged. Most persons show their price when properly incentivized. But you've remained steadfast through tests you didn't even know you were taking. You've passed examinations you weren't aware you were sitting. You've succeeded in trials you didn't realize were being conducted. Opportunities presented that seemed perfect, but required small compromises. Relationships offered that appeared beneficial, but demanded subtle betrayals. Positions dangled that looked prestigious, but necessitated quiet surenas. You navigated past each one, not through clever strategy, but through simple adherence to your principles. Your integrity has been your navigation system, through a minefield you couldn't see. Your response to temptation has been particularly noteworthy to observers. Not the dramatic rejection of obvious evil, but the quiet decline of seemingly harmless compromises. You've turned down opportunities others would consider blessings because you sensed strings attached. You've walked away from advantages others would kill for because you perceive the hidden costs. Your ability to see through sophisticated deceptions has marked you as impossible in the physical realm. Something massive has been building in the spiritual dimension. Your refusal to compromise hasn't just been protecting you. It's been positioning you for something so significant that sensitive people can feel it approaching, like animals sense earthquakes. The approach of your blessing is creating what metaphysicians call temporal distortions. Past, present, and future are converging around your destiny in ways that defy linear explanation. Things that should take years are happening in moments. Connections that typically require decades of networking are forming spontaneously. Resources that usually demand generations of accumulation are flowing toward you through channels that didn't exist yesterday. Your acceleration is causing panic among those who depend on predictable timelines to maintain control. You're not following the prescribed path of gradual advancement. You're not accepting the limitation of incremental progress. You're not submitting to the tyranny of paying dues that keeps most people trapped in cycles of perpetual apprenticeship. Your quantum leaps are making their careful calculations irrelevant. This acceleration of your destiny is triggering alarm systems in establishments that profit from keeping people in predictable timelines. Your rapid elevation threatens the careful succession planning that maintains existing power structures. Your quantum leap endangers the gradual promotion system that ensures compliance through delayed gratification. Your instant manifestation challenges the scarcity model that keeps most people desperately climbing ladders that lead nowhere. The synchronicities in your life have multiplied exponentially. You think of someone and they contact you. You need something and it appears. You desire understanding and teachers manifest. You require resources and channels open. These aren't coincidences. Your alignment with your authentic path has created a magnetic pull that draws everything needed for your mission directly to you. Major blessings don't arrive quietly. What's coming toward you is creating atmospheric pressure that's making certain individuals physically uncomfortable. Some are experiencing unexplained anxiety when your name comes up in conversation. Others are having disturbing dreams about your rise to prominence. Still, others are feeling an inexplicable urgency to either align with you or distance themselves from you. Resources are mobilizing toward you that will make your current challenges look like practice rounds. Connections are aligning that will transform your network overnight. Opportunities are synchronizing that will catapult you past people who had significant head starts. The magnitude of what's approaching is so substantial that even those trying to stop it are inadvertently participating in its manifestation. Your mere existence is becoming a gravitational force that's reorganizing the cosmos around you. People are being repositioned in relation to your destiny. Some are being drawn closer to support your mission. Others are being moved aside to clear your path. Still others are being elevated alongside you as part of your constellation of change. The universe is restructuring itself to accommodate what you're becoming. The watchers can feel this tsunami of favor building around your life, and there's panic in their ranks. Not because anyone can stop it, but because no one can. Control mechanisms that usually work are failing. Manipulation tactics that typically succeed are backfiring. Suppression strategies that historically function are actually amplifying your influence instead of diminishing it. Your response to surveillance has been particularly confounding. Instead of paranoia, you've developed deeper peace. Instead of fear, you've cultivated greater faith. Instead of retreat, you've continued advancing. This reaction pattern doesn't match any of their psychological models. You're supposed to crumble under scrutiny, not crystallize. You're expected to fracture under pressure, not fortify. The peace you maintain is not passive, but powerful. It's the peace of someone who understands that being watched means you matter. It's the tranquility of someone who knows that surveillance is just documentation of significance. It's the calm of someone who realizes that investigation is merely verification of value. Your peace is an act of warfare against systems that depend on fear to function. You walk through life with joy that confounds people who sacrificed peace for position. You maintain contentment that challenges those who believe misery is membership fee for success. You radiate satisfaction that threatens everything about what achievement supposedly costs. Your laughter in the midst of their investigation is particularly unsettling. Not nervous laughter that reveals anxiety, but genuine joy that demonstrates immunity to their intimidation. Your smile isn't a mask hiding fear. It's authentic expression of someone who knows something your watchers don't. You understand that surveillance without permission is just free documentation of your rise. The quality of your sleep while under observation has become a topic of concerned discussion. Most people under scrutiny develop insomnia. Most individuals being watched experience disrupted rest. Most persons under investigation suffer from nightmares. But you're sleeping peacefully, dreaming powerfully, and waking up refreshed. This biological impossibility suggests you're protected by something beyond their comprehension. Your body itself has become evidence of divine protection. Your health remains robust despite the stress of surveillance. Your energy stays high despite the drain of constant observation. Your vitality increases despite the pressure of perpetual monitoring. You're thriving under conditions that would destroy most people, and this physical resilience is perhaps the most threatening aspect of your existence to those who depend on wearing people down. Your joy isn't just personal happiness. It's a prophetic declaration. Every smile, despite surveillance, announces that intimidation tactics are powerless. Every laugh in the face of investigation proclaims that control methods are obsolete. Every moment of peace, while others lose composure, demonstrates you're operating from a completely different power source. The energy you maintain throughout your day defies their calculations. By their metrics, you should be exhausted from constantly being on guard. According to their formulas, you should be depleted from continuous vigilance. Based on their equations, you should be drained from persistent awareness. Yet you seem to have more energy as surveillance intensifies, not less. Your vitality increases with observation rather than decreases. Your creativity has exploded during this period of surveillance. Instead of being stifled by scrutiny, you're producing your best work. Instead of being limited by observation, you're expanding beyond previous boundaries. Instead of being contained by investigation, you're creating at levels that surprise even you. The pressure that should compress you is actually catalyzing your transformation into something more powerful. This entire surveillance operation wasn't designed by watchers. It was orchestrated by forces beyond comprehension to serve purposes beyond imagination. Watchers think they're observing you to protect interests. In reality, they're documenting your rise for history. Investigators believe they're looking for flaws. Actually, they're creating an archive of authenticity. Monitors assume they're maintaining control. Truth is, they're witnessing emergence of a new paradigm. The documentation being compiled about you will serve a purpose opposite to its intention. What's being gathered as evidence against you will become evidence for you. What's being collected to limit you will be used to liberate others. What's being recorded to contain your influence will become the very testimony that expands it exponentially. Every photograph taken of you during this surveillance period captures more than your physical form. It documents your energetic evolution. Every recording made of your conversations preserves more than your words. It archives your frequency transmission. Every note written about your activities describes more than your actions. It chronicles your dimensional shift. The archives being created about you will become historical documents studied by future generations, not as warnings about stepping out of line, but as blueprints for breaking free. Not as cautionary tales about challenging systems, but as instruction manuals for transformation, not as examples of what not to do, but as templates for what's possible when someone refuses to compromise their truth. You haven't been the subject of investigation. You've been conducting a masterclass others were forced to attend. Every decision you made from integrity became a lesson witnesses had to observe. Every choice you made from wisdom became instruction observers couldn't ignore. Every move you made from principle became education watchers desperately needed but never requested. Consider how your daily choices have been teaching profound lessons to those monitoring you. Your refusal to gossip when you have inside information demonstrates power through discretion. Your commitment to excellence, even in unmonitored moments, proves integrity isn't performed for audiences. Your kindness to those who can't benefit you reveals authentic character that doesn't require compensation. Your generosity during surveillance has been especially confounding. Most people under observation become protective and closed. Most individuals being watched become suspicious and withholding. But you've become more generous, more open, more giving. You share knowledge that could be withheld. You offer support that could be reserved. This abundance mindset in the face of scrutiny breaks every model of expected behavior. Your life has become a walking university, and watchers are unwilling students learning that everything about success was misunderstood, that everything sacrificed for advancement was unnecessary, that everything compromised for achievement was optional. This education is creating distinct responses among your observers. The first group is experiencing enlightenment. These are the ones whose surveillance of you is triggering awakening. Observers realizing they weren't watching a person, but witnessing possibility. Investigators understanding they weren't examining an individual, but studying a system. Monitors recognizing they weren't tracking someone's activities, but learning someone's methodology. These enlightened ones are about to become your greatest allies, your most powerful advocates, your strongest supporters. Former opponents will abandon old ways and adopt your approach, bringing resources and connections that will accelerate your mission. Some among this first group are already beginning to question their assignments. You've noticed certain watchers seem conflicted, their surveillance feeling more like study than scrutiny. These individuals are experiencing cognitive dissonance as your example contradicts everything they've been programmed to believe. Your consistent integrity is deprogramming their corrupted software, installing new operating systems based on authenticity rather than artifice. The transformation happening within this first group is profound. Some are secretly documenting your methods, not for their superiors, but for themselves, creating personal archives of your approach to reference when they finally find courage to break free. Your example is planting seeds of revolution in the minds of your monitors, seeds that will bloom into their own liberation movements. The second group is experiencing retreat. These observers see truth but can't embrace it. Understanding your way is better, but unable to abandon investment in old systems. Withdrawing from your sphere, carrying uncomfortable knowledge that entire worldviews were built on lies. Not opposing you anymore, but also not supporting you. Existing in twilight zones of knowing better, but not doing better. This second group will become increasingly irrelevant as your influence expands. Their retreat isn't defeat, but self-removal from a game they can no longer play. Your presence makes their compromise too obvious to ignore. Their shortcuts too costly to continue. Rather than elevate to your level, they'll simply fade from your sphere of influence. The third group is experiencing resistance. These are ones so threatened by your success that they'll double down on original assessments, convincing themselves you must be hiding something, that methods must involve deception not yet discovered. But here's the beautiful irony. Continued investigation will only create more documentation of authenticity. Persistent surveillance will only provide more evidence of integrity. Unwilling witnesses to elevation, involuntary historians of triumph. This resistant group is actually serving your purpose more than others. Their desperate attempts to find fault are creating the most thorough documentation of your faultlessness. Their intensive scrutiny is producing the most comprehensive testimony of your authenticity. Their hostile investigation is generating the most powerful evidence of your integrity. Now we've reached the climax of this cosmic drama. The breakthrough approaching your life isn't just personal promotion. It's a prophetic demonstration. You're about to step into influence that will fundamentally rewrite success rules for generations. You're approaching impact dimensions that will prove once and for all that righteousness and resources can coexist, that integrity and influence can collaborate, that principles and prosperity can partner. The magnitude of what's about to manifest in your life will require new vocabulary to describe. Current language lacks words for the level of favor approaching. Existing metrics can't measure the multiplication about to occur. Standard frameworks can't contain the expansion preparing to happen. You're not just breaking through ceilings. You're dissolving the entire concept of limitation. What's coming toward you will establish new precedents in every area you touch. Your financial breakthrough will demonstrate wealth without wickedness. Your relational expansion will model connection without manipulation. Your influential increase will showcase power without corruption. Your spiritual elevation will exhibit authority without abuse. The surveillance is about to shift from investigation to education. Executives monitoring your potential will request meetings to understand methods. Leaders questioning your approach will study strategies. People watching with suspicion will watch for wisdom. The transformation will be so sudden that those prepared to testify against you will find themselves testifying for you. Documentation gathered during the surveillance period will be repurposed in ways that will astound even you. Reports written to restrict you will become recommendations that resource you. Files created to contain you will become foundations that support you. Records kept to limit you will become references that launch you. The very system designed to suppress you will become the structure that supports your rise. But here's what makes your story legendary. Your elevation won't require anyone's demotion. Your success won't demand anyone's failure. Your victory won't necessitate anyone's defeat, because that's how divine justice operates. It doesn't need to destroy old to establish new. It simply demonstrates better ways so powerfully that old becomes obsolete by comparison. The boardrooms where your name was mentioned as potential threat will become classrooms where methods are taught as solutions. Conference rooms where influence was discussed as concerning will become training grounds where approach becomes new standard. Offices where success was analyzed as anomaly will become centers where principles are implemented as policy. Your breakthrough will ripple through industries you've never entered. Your testimony will transform territories you've never touched. Your example will elevate individuals you've never encountered. The surveillance meant to contain you locally will end up broadcasting you globally. The investigation intended to restrict you privately will result in promoting you publicly. This isn't revenge, it's redemption. Not just for you, but for everyone. Told that compromise is the cost of success. Your breakthrough becomes permission slips to pursue prosperity with principles intact. Your elevation becomes evidence that integrity isn't limitation, but launching pad. Your victory becomes verification that doing right doesn't mean finishing last. The transformation will happen in stages that build upon each other. First, your immediate sphere will experience the shift. Those closest to you will witness impossible becoming inevitable. Next, your extended network will feel the change. Connections you've maintained will suddenly activate in synchronized support. Finally, strangers will begin seeking you out, drawn by an influence that transcends explanation. Your presence alone will begin shifting atmospheres. Rooms you enter will experience energetic upgrades. Conversations you join will elevate to higher dimensions. Meetings you attend will produce breakthrough solutions. Your very existence will become a catalyst for transformation in spaces that have been stagnant for generations. The impact of your presence will become undeniable. Problems that seemed unsolvable will resolve in your presence. Conflicts that appeared permanent will dissolve when you speak. Limitations that felt fixed will shatter when you act. You'll become a walking solution to problems that have plagued systems for decades. Your approach will become the new template for resolution. The file with your name on it that started this story is about to be rewritten. What began as surveillance report will become success story. What started as investigation will become inspiration. What originated as attempt to contain you will become testament to what happens when authentic power meets divine timing. Right now, the shift is already happening. Watchers are becoming witnesses. Investigators are becoming students. Monitors are becoming admirers. Eyes that tracked every move with suspicion are beginning to track every move for strategy. Minds that analyzed actions for weakness are starting to analyze actions for wisdom. Hearts that hoped for failure are beginning to hope to learn your formula. The transition from surveillance to sovereignty is accelerating. Documents being written about you right now are being influenced by forces beyond human comprehension. Reports being filed are being edited by divine intervention. Assessments being made are being adjusted by cosmic correction. What's being recorded for restriction is being rewritten for release. You're moving from being under surveillance to being under sovereignty, from being watched to being worth watching, from being investigated to being imitated. People who thought they were documenting downfall have been unknowingly documenting rise. Records kept to contain, you will become testimonies that celebrate you. Files created to limit, you will become evidence that liberates others. The cosmic intelligence orchestrating this reversal has been using your observers as unknowing participants in your elevation. Every hour spent watching you has been investment in understanding to investigating you, has been funding for documenting your model. Every effort made to understand your power has been energy contributed to expanding your influence. Your watchers have become unwitting co-creators of your legacy. Their surveillance has provided third-party verification of your integrity. Their investigation has created independent authentication of your authenticity. Their monitoring has produced objective validation of your value. No one can claim your success is self-reported when hostile witnesses have documented every step. The obsidian inner order is where you can process difficult realizations together every week on our Zoom calls with people who understand that some of life's most painful experiences become our greatest teachers. We don't encourage bitterness. We cultivate wisdom. Your ability to see people's true character is a gift that will protect you from future betrayals. Your willingness to forgive while maintaining boundaries shows strength, not weakness. Your wisdom was earned through experience, not given freely. Connect with people who value truth. Join the Obsidian Inner Order. Link in the description. Doppy. Remember how this began? Someone with power was given specific instructions to keep close eyes on you. Now here's how it ends. Everyone with vision is giving themselves permission to keep learning from you. Not because they have to, but because they want to. Not because you forced them, but because you inspired them. Not because you demanded it, but because you demonstrated it. The surveillance network built to monitor you has become broadcast system announcing arrival. Every camera pointed at you to catch you falling has captured you rising. Every microphone placed to record compromise has recorded consistency. Every document filed to prove you were wrong has become proof you were right all along. But the most beautiful plot twist in this entire saga, watchers were never really your enemy. They were unwitting publicists, involuntary marketing teams, unconscious promotion committees. Every meeting where threat was discussed was actually spreading awareness of gift. Every conversation analyzing danger was actually acknowledging power. Every report questioning methods was actually documenting uniqueness. The hours invested in watching you have been divine investment in your documentation. The resources spent investigating you have been heaven's funding for your archive. The energy expended monitoring you has been cosmic contribution to your legacy. You've been the recipient of the most thorough third-party verification process ever conducted. And you passed every test you didn't know you were taking. You played this perfectly without even knowing you were playing. You responded to surveillance with sovereignty. You answered investigation with inspiration. You met scrutiny with serenity. And in doing so, you didn't just win the game. You transformed it entirely. The cosmic joke is that watchers thought power came from watching, but you had power from being worth watching. Observers thought they were hunters, and you were prey. Turns out you were teacher, and they were students who didn't know they'd enrolled in your class. Your story becomes the new template for transcendence. Your journey becomes the blueprint for breakthrough. Your example becomes the evidence for elevation. What was meant to be cautionary tale about stepping out of line becomes inspiration story about standing in truth. As we close this revelation, understand this truth that transforms everything. Surveillance was never about stopping you. It was universe forcing witnesses to observe what authentic success looks like. Investigation was never about finding your flaws. It was about discovering their own. Monitoring was never about maintaining control. It was about learning what real power looks like when wielded with wisdom instead of wickedness. Your story is their awakening. Your success is their education. Your breakthrough is their breakthrough. If brave enough to admit everything about winning was misunderstood. The file that started with your name as threat now ends with your name as solution. Surveillance that began as suspicion now concludes as celebration. Watching that originated in fear now culminates in respect. This is your moment, chosen one, where surveillance becomes sovereignty, where investigation becomes inspiration, where being watched becomes being worth watching. Eyes that once tracked you with suspicion now track with admiration. Minds that once plotted against you now study methods. Hearts that once hoped for failure now hope to follow your path. You didn't just survive surveillance. You transformed it into platform. You didn't just endure investigation. You turned it into validation. You didn't just withstand watching. You converted it into testimony. And in doing so, you've proven something that will echo through generations. That integrity isn't weakness, it's ultimate strength. That authenticity isn't limitation, it's liberation. That doing right isn't naive, it's the most sophisticated strategy that exists. The closed eyes watching you have witnessed something never expected. Someone winning without cheating, someone rising without compromising, someone succeeding without sacrificing soul. And that impossibility has become your legacy. Surveillance is over. Sovereignty has begun. Watchers came to witness fall, but instead witnessed flight. And now they're trying to figure out how to grow wings of their own. Your triumph isn't just personal, it's universal. Your victory isn't just individual, it's collective. Your breakthrough isn't just about you. It's about everyone who dares to believe that there's another way to win. The surveillance that was meant to limit you has become the testimony that liberates multitudes. The investigation that was intended to contain you has become the evidence that expands possibilities for all. This is the final revelation. You were chosen not just to be watched, but to be the one worth watching. Not just to be investigated, but to be the investigation that investigates the investigators. Not just to be monitored, but to be the monitor of what monitoring reveals about those who monitor. You've become the mirror that shows watchers their own reflection. And what they see is transforming them more than they ever intended to transform.